All right, guys, what's going on? Jacob here, Miami Dolphins Syndicate. We just got done with the first week of training camp. Tomorrow, Saturday, is going to be the scrimmage. Me and Donovan will be at there. If you guys see us, come say hi. The only reason we bring that up is because we finally got recognized by a fan. So that was a really cool experience, and hopefully we can meet some of you guys in the weeks, months, and seasons to come. So if you see us, please come up and say hi. But tomorrow being the scrimmage and the week of training camp being over, I'd like to talk a little bit about Tua and what we've seen from him so far through training camp and how we feel going into the season. Tua doesn't have a lot of talk this year as much as he did last year and the year before as to whether he's the guy. Is he going to be good enough to lead this offense? We now know that talent is not going to be an issue. He is not a top 5 quarterback yet. He potentially can reach that, but he's not a top 5 quarterback. He's a fringe top 10 quarterback and is certainly capable of running this offense how it's set up. If you guys go back and watch my videos at the end of the season, going into March and early April, I was very on board with the idea of giving up on Tua, moving off of him for guys like Tom Brady, for Derek Carr, maybe looking towards the draft, but didn't really feel that one as much. But I was very open to that idea, and I think I really got caught up in the moment of the end of the season, as well as taking a look at the injuries, which is certainly still an issue that I'll probably cover here at some point. That is still something that's going to be the case with Tua. But going into this training camp, there was a lot less pressure on him to figure out whether he's good enough. We know that he is. That's not really the issue. But being what it may, he has still come out and performed. He has still come out and done really well. And the progression that we wanted to see, I feel like we've gotten to see that. So through training camp so far as I'm aware, only has one interception. He hasn't had his big, massive throw over the middle like he did last year to Tyreek Hill. That's not what we've seen from the training camp. The team isn't really trying to set up media opportunities to make him look good. They now can just focus on the team, focus on getting the most out of this offense as possible, and focus on getting Tua to be the best version of himself that he possibly can be. I think we are starting to see that. He has looked very comfortable in the 2 practices that I've gone to. He's looked very comfortable running the offense. He looks sturdier. Obviously, we've seen the muscle he's had. He's grown in the offseason. The tattoos leads me to believe he's in a much more comfortable mental state, mentally speaking, rather than physically mental state than he was going into even last year. Everything is pointing in the right direction when it comes to Tua, and that's something that very much excites me going forward with his team. We don't need him to go out there and be the best quarterback in the league. We don't need him to be Patrick Mahomes to be successful. Well, now, when you do come against Patrick Mahomes, it is going to be a little bit harder to win, to beat those top quarterbacks in the NFL. Tua isn't quite there yet, but he's going to be setting us up in a position this season that going into every game, I feel good that our offense is going to come and stack up, and we know that Vic Fangio's defense is going to certainly improve. I've really turned an about face on my attitude towards Tua, and now it's just on him to go out there and be healthy this season. I went to training camp. I wouldn't say that I went in with a critical eye actually at all. Now that I think about it, I went to training camp just seeing how he would react to mistakes that he's made, command over the offense, comfortability, how just body language, how does he look going out there, and I really enjoyed seeing when he did make his mistake or two in the practices so far. He has the one interception when there was a couple throws that he made that could have been intercepted. As soon as that happened, he went right back out there and continued to lead the offense as he was asked to do. It didn't waver him. It didn't falter him. It didn't look like he was looking into the ground and seeing his shoulders start to shrug in and really lose that positive body posture, body language, excuse me. And he looks happy. He looks energized. He looks ready to go. He looks like he's not bearing the weight of the world. He looks like somebody who has had the media crucifying him for years, and now it's finally done. And he can just go out there and breathe and lead the team as he's asked to do. He's not going to be asked to be a guy like Josh Allen, throwing his body around, making a cannon throw down the sideline, running across his body. He's not going to be asked to do that. He's going to be asked to stay within the confines of the offense and run it perfectly. this is where you get the comparison to Drew Brees. And we've started to see some reports come out about the Broncos now with Sean McVay are struggling to mix that system together, whereas Russell Wilson is not a timing passer. He's very much, he likes to use his feet. He doesn't want to just sit back there, hit his back foot, get the ball out quickly. That's not what he wants to do. There was so much success with the New Orleans Saints, with Drew Brees, with Sean Payton, and that was a lot of people's comparisons when Tua came into the league. That was my number one comparison, would be Drew Brees. Now, that is a very small box to try to check because we've seen a lot of guys who are 6'4", 6'5", 220 plus pounds that have pretty monstrous arms have success in the league in varying levels. And even not necessarily large arms, but just relatively large human beings who can sit back there. That's not what Tua is. He is, barely cracking 6 foot, 6'1", I believe is what he's listed at. Might be 6'1", might be 6'2", but he does not physically impose at all. His running ability does not impose at all. His arm strength doesn't impose at all. If he can go out there into an elite level, do what he does well, I believe we will see a similar season that we saw last year, and then add on the potential for him to play more games than he did last year. That's obviously the hope. Had the jiu-jitsu training. Mike McDaniel has seen some opportunities where the jiu-jitsu training has helped him on the field, where he has fallen. If he stepped on a guy's leg and he takes a fall, he's seen him actually implement that. So that, even though I've rolled my eyes at it virtually all season long, that's a really good sign for me. The training camp, which was supposed to be my focus on this video, I don't know how well I stuck to that. Just came in here basically just a ranting conversational video. The training camp, the fact that he just hasn't made a lot of mistakes, the fact that he's hitting his guys in stride, making his throws, and especially when you then compare him to Mike White or Skylar Thompson, guys for one reason or another have been, well, not as much Mike White yet, but there's legitimate fans last year who wanted Skylar Thompson to be the starting quarterback over Tua, and now that is completely lunatic. I think Skylar Thompson is not good. I think he got really benefited by playing against some bad players last year in the preseason, and we'll probably see Skylar Thompson have a lot of success this preseason just like he did last year, but that's not who Skylar Thompson is as a quarterback. Seeing the difference of the offense in the 11-on-11 drills with Skylar Thompson or with, his name just escapes me. You guys know who I'm talking about. Crap, that makes me mad. Mike White. Took me a second. The system of the offense with Mike White in there and Skylar Thompson in there versus when Tua is in there, it looks so completely different. The receivers trust that the ball is going to be thrown to them a lot better. They look comfortable. They look, instead of so much focusing on getting the ball, you can see them look to make that next move before they've had the ball, and that is, and sometimes a cardinal sin of wide receivers. That's how they ultimately leave drops. But you see them coming out of their breaks and coming to their point with a little bit more confidence, just a little bit. You can see it if you guys have gone there to the practices yourself. They come out of their stride, ready for the ball exactly where they're supposed to get it. That's what this offense needs, and that's what Tua can provide. So I've seen nothing but positive things. There's been a few moments, a few down moments that Tua's had through camp so far, but if he can maintain this momentum that he's got here in camp, as well as the ability, the play we saw from him last season, if we can see that transition over to this season, I think he can be the guy to take the Dolphins potentially in the race. I know we're already in the race, but elevate us in the race to win the division and then finally win a playoff game. I was born in 2000. We won a playoff game in 2001. That's the last time we won a playoff game. I was less than 1 year old. Dying for that streak to finally come to an end. Do you guys think it'll come to an end? Do you think this is the season the Dolphins will finally win a playoff game? Let me know what you think down below. Let me know what you think about Tua. And there's a lot of people that are watching this that are probably going to be, a little critical of me and or Tua, and say that they're not quite convinced. And I'm not quite convinced either. Let's throw the roll on there. I'm not ready to give him the contract. Not ready to 100% say that he is the guy without a doubt. But if you flip back, for those of you who are going to comment on this video with some disgust and some negative things to say about Tua, I urge you to go back to March and April and see that I very much was on your side and wanted this Tua experiment to come to a close. But with some time to think, now seeing him in camp, we're a few months removed from his injury, he's got the all clear, 100% go. I feel comfortable, I feel confident, and I'm ready for week 1.